Good afternoon or good morning, everyone, if you happen to be on the West Coast, and welcome to today's webinar entitled Transform Your Finance Function with SAP S/4HANA. My name is Rihanna Thompson, and I'll be your moderator for today. And we have just a few announcements before we begin today's presentation. This webinar is designed to be interactive between you and our presenters. So if you have any questions during the presentation, feel free to type them out into the chat. However, in the interest of time, we will try to get to the majority of our questions during our Q&A session at the end. We will hopefully have time to get to everyone. Now, with that taken care of, I'd like to introduce our two presenters for today. We have Jamie Fryer, partner at Illumity, and Ludo Bebiak, SAP FICO Solution Architect at Illumity. With that being said, I hand it off to you, Jamie.
Thank you, Rihanna, and I'd like to welcome everyone to our webinar. As Rihanna said, my name is Jamie Fryer, and I am a partner with Illumity. For those who don't know us, Illumity is a niche SAP SI focused on helping companies to run better with SAP. Next slide, please.
1 second, Jamie, they weren't able to hear you. Can I get confirmation from the audience that you guys can hear me right now? Okay, you guys can hear Jamie and us fine now. Perfect. Thank you guys for confirming. Jamie, why don't you just recap what you just said?
Sure. I just was starting by introducing myself. So my name is Jamie Fryer, and I'm a partner with Illumity. And for those who don't know Illumity, we're a niche SAP system integrator focused on helping companies to run better with SAP. And I'm sure everyone knows SAP, but for those who don't, SAP is the world's largest ERP software developer with over 400,000 customers worldwide. Most know SAP well as the developer of the world's best ERP product, and that's validated by how many of the really large, complex businesses in the world that run SAP. Today's webinar is focused more on more than the functionality. Today's webinar is really focused on showing you guys how easy and intuitive SAP is now to use specifically for finance users. So without further ado, I want to introduce Ludo, who is one of Illumity's finance experts. Next slide, please. I think there was a bio slide, but I can introduce Ludo. So Ludo has 25 years of SAP finance experience. He has experience with all of SAP's finance modules. He's been through many S4 implementations, and probably most importantly to Ludo, he's a very happy granddad of 8, and he loves his grandkids and he loves SAP. So without further ado, I'll turn this over to Ludo, and I just want to thank everyone very much for attending today.
Thank you, Jamie. Thank you, Rihanna. Good afternoon, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the webinar. Today, we will be talking, I will be showing you agendas in the life of the AP, of an AP clerk and an AR clerk. So one of the two fundamental functions in finance, and I will be showing these functions to you in out-of-the-box best practice Fiori apps in S/4HANA 2020. And I will be showing you some Illumity intellectual properties, some programs that we have developed for particular clients, for particular industries. I'll get to the details when the time comes. I just want to say that the apps that you will see, they have not been really modified to any reasonable. It's out of the box, based on best practices, as I said, and it's based on our internal system that we're using for demo. So we have few internal systems from which we do demos for potential clients and owners, business owners or managers in the companies. This is the general demo client I will show you. When we talk about the day in the life of accounts payable, it's quite self-describing, I believe. An AP clerk would review supplier balances, supplier line items, create invoices, unblock, block invoices, manage down payment requests, manage automatic payments, review overdue payables, review other things. And you can see graphically on a little picture here on the right-hand side what kind of actions that's it. It's probably a typical agenda on a daily life of an AP clerk. When I'll go in SAP and S4HANA in a second. This is just a slide showing the apps that I will be presenting to you today. We'll keep it in the deck just for a reminder to you, something that if you're interested in the deck, you want to keep some sort of reminder for the session, you will see what kind of apps I'm going to use. So with that, let me switch to the system. So this is the same screen as you can see, but now I'm in the browser and I'm actually in our internal system, and I will start with my presentation in S4HANA. This is my selection of the apps in Fiori, my understanding what the AP clerk might do. But of course, there will be variations, and there will be various roles and levels that a clerk will want to do during the day. This is just a typical selection. So first, I'll go to display supplier list. So let's say that the AP clerk wants to refresh and confirm some data. Easily, you can see the screen is very intuitive. You have the suppliers here. You have basic data that you want to see. You can always maintain the layouts here in these settings. This gear icon in Fiori Launchpad is always indicating that there are some options to change the layout. So if I click here, you can see that I do these fields. I have plenty of fields here, and then I can do sorting or filtering. I'm not going to change anything. I just wanted to point out that this function is here available almost in all Fiori apps of this kind, where you want to see a list of something. If I want to show you particular suppliers, so I come here and I click on the number here, I can see and I can go directly to particular function for that supplier. So if I want to see a supplier balances, I can go directly from here. I can go to manage supplier line items from here. This is one of the biggest things in Fiori, that in order to get to different transactions, different apps, you don't need to leave one and to go to another. For those of you who have been working in SAP, in ECC in particular, you know how it is, right? You go to a transaction, you go there, you find something, you have to open another tab, you will go there, you come back, you go to the third tab if you want to see more. Here, this is much more streamlined. You can go directly from one app to another app to another app very easily. But for this, for now only, I'll go only to show you the master data. And what I want to emphasize here, it's the ease of navigation, right? You can see that I can just scroll down and I don't need to even go to these tabs correspond to my scrolling down. So if I go, I'm here in Invoices, this is exactly the same as if I clicked on the Invoices here. The data itself for suppliers is almost the same as you know them from another ERPs or ECC in SAP. It's basically driven by business needs, right? So it's not really something very special. It's just the navigation in Fiori is much more user-friendly and more intuitive. So if I come here, or if I want to confirm, for example, the bank, is this bank actually what it should be for this? Is it correct? So I can see, and here you have a pop-up window showing exactly what you may want to see. Is a bank number, even a SWIFT code if needed, account number, and so on. So this is just the first app I wanted to show you. in case that an AP clerk wants to use. Next on my list is the supplier invoices list. So I come here. Here, as you can see, I have something like area with this arrow where I can define what I want to see. So this is always my filter area. In almost all Fiori apps, you have this selection criteria available. You can click and unclick. You don't need to go back. Again, for those who are coming from ECC, it always means that you need to go back to the selection screen, go back, change the selection criteria, and execute the program again with the new selection criteria. Here is a simple thing, right? You have both selection criteria, the filters, and the results on the same screen. And because for this demo I wanted to prepare and not to waste time trying to find out what suppliers I want to show, I just prepared the selection criteria for this demo, and I saved it as a view. So I have created a view for this particular demo. I called it like this, and when I got here, immediately this view was selected for me because I said that was to be applied automatically, and I don't need to do anything else. So if the clerk is working with particular set of suppliers or for particular document types or certain time period, you can always predefine such a selection here in filters, create your own view, and then make it work for you automatically. You don't need to select or even go to variants in ECC to select from. It's all here automatically when you click on the app in the Fiori Launchpad. Here, then I wanted to show you for that supplier, if I go to, let's say, this invoice, that these are invoices, I can go here to see more details. So usually for lists like this in Fiori, you would have the arrow at the right-hand side. It means that there is something behind it, right? More details behind the line item on the previous screen. Here you can again scroll down or go around the tabs to see what's there. What I wanted to focus now is the journal entry. So if I click on this, I will show this process flow. So it shows me how the whole thing, how the whole invoice, where it's coming from a purchase order. Then I have an invoice receipt and the journal entry related to this. Here I can see immediately it's blocked for payment. So I can have some basic information directly right here. And then even further, if I click on the journal entry and I click on the related applications, that's what I said before, right? Plenty of clicks that you can use and then do what makes sense, of course. You don't want to probably use all of them. But if I, for example, want to show you display document flow, then I have the better document flow view, not just the process flow, but the document flow, what was created, goods received related, is it the logistics invoice? And you can see multiple items here because probably it was canceled, reversed multiple times. Maybe that's one of those that I was using for paying or canceling and trying to use for different purposes. But here, if I click on this even, I can use the Control+ button and I can see really all details here for more visibility. And then if I go back, so this is just one of the features quite typical for Fiori, that it combines really well the data in the tabular view on the list on a screen and the graphical view. The whole thing about showing these data flow and process flows is really very helpful. And that's not something that you would see in ECC, or I would say even in other ERPs. So let me go back. Now I'd like to post, go back one more time, create a supplier invoice. So again, the screen, I've been doing SAP for over 25 years, so I really have seen many different enhancements on the screen, how to navigate easily in SAP. Definitely, I can truly say this is by far the best navigation and organization of the screen. Here, it combines actually both PO-based and non-PO-based invoices. So if I come here and I say, let's say 19, I have prepared some data, so it's not completely unprepared. I'm not trying to improvise here. So I enter the basic data, then I do the purchase order, and the PO here is I would get it from the invoice, right, directly. So I have it here. I can see the screen here, the details from the PO or the goods receipt. So yes, that's correct. There is no difference here. And if I have even tax data properly populated from from the PO, sorry. Or I could use the same app, the same transaction, adding just GL account items. I can use this app, as I said, either for the PO-based invoices where I would populate the PO here, or I can go here and just add line items for GL account lines. Or I can do it probably also in the combined manner. But for now, I'm okay with this. If I'm not clear if everything is actually properly set here, I can click on check. It would check here, and here the pop-up window will tell me invoice was successfully checked. Fine, I can proceed. Messages generally now appear in the left bottom corner. Here you watch for what the SAP is telling you. What I wanted to show you also now, instead of, I could simulate and could pause or hold or park, but I'm going to save it as completed because I want to show you another feature. So no, I don't want to create a new invoice, but I'd like to remember 378, the number, right? I'd like to go now as an approver because I submitted it. When I save this as complete, I submitted it basically for workflow. So I come here, and here I am logged in as another user, as an approver. And if I go to my inbox, so 378 is an invoice here waiting for the approver's approval. Why am I showing this to you? To demonstrate just that it's working. The workflow is really here. But also I wanted to say that the SAP came with a so-called flexible workflow concept, and you can see it in many areas in S/4HANA. It's been around since version 1809, I believe. So it's not very new in 2020, but it's getting approved, enhanced all the time, and you can define very easily. It's not really any price object, like no development, no coding. It's very easily can be configured, and you can use it almost out of the box. That's why I'm showing to you. And one of the flexible workflows is for completed invoices on the supplier side. So here I can either reject or I can forward, I can suspend, but I'm going to release it, and I'm going to, I can make some comments here and I submit. And nothing else is here for me to approve. And I can be sure that actually that invoice has been posted now, because when I save this as complete, it's only parked, but now it's posted. So I go back now, and then I go to this app, clear outgoing payments. And again, the AP clerk has done the invoice. has done the review of the master data and supplier invoices. Now it's the time for clearing something because something was not posted properly. So we need, or some open items are sitting on the account. So I'm going to show you how easy it is to clear open items for suppliers. Again, I have some pre-selected data here. So I checked this. For our demo 145, I click here, I want to see more, and this brings me, I'm going to clear that particular item. This item has been checked here as the first for clearing, and then I will go through the items here with which I want to clear the item, right? So I want to clear some open items because there have been some reversals or some postings. I want to clear with this, and SAP would also generate and find all items with the same amount and the same reference number as the original one. So the clearing is really very simple now, and all I have to do is just click on posting and I have cleared that all. So for those of you who've been watching your clerks or struggling with clearing open items, going from screen to screen and trying to find what's available for clearing, this is really more convenient, more user-friendly. So I posted here and it's cleared. So 46 is the clearing document or the journal entry for clearing. Okay, I go back to payment list if I want to clear something more. So I'm back here, and if I want to clear more, I can continue the same way as I showed you just now. If I need to reset clear items, so resetting, I'm showing to you some simple apps on the AP agenda. And also I wanted you to compare with what you do today, either in ECC or maybe in an early stages in S4HANA, or even if the latest versions of S4HANA, there is always something something surprising us in S4HANA. These features, these navigational new tricks, they are always quite nice. It's almost joyful to go through these sessions and try to find new tricks and improve the efficiency on the work of particular SAP users. So here, I'm here back in my particular supplier and the company code. If I want to show what's been posted here when I cleared something, so if I want to say, let's say I want to reset the clearing entry for this item, I come again here on the arrow at the right hand side, and here I can review what that posting was about, what entries are part of the clearing document. And here I have the reset or reset and reverse item function. So I just click on this. If it's reset and reverse, I'm going to reverse it, and I need to identify a reversal reason. If I only want to reset, it means that these items won't be cleared anymore. They will stay open on the account, supplier account. So clearing 63 has been reset, and I can apply to another either payment or invoice. I can deal with that because somebody might have done it incorrectly and cleared incorrect items together. So I can reset that much easier. Here, the good advantage of this screen is that it'll show you clearing entries right here, right? Again, if I go back to ECC, you needed to know or had to go through other screens to identify the clearing document number. Here, it's showing actually these details right here, not just the entry number, but the posting date. And here you can enter or can maintain even more name. For example, if I want to see a name, who did it actually, then I can do it right here. And I can see, oh, so this, I knew I wanted to reset cleared items done by Joe here, right? So I know that I have to come here and reset this item here. So this is really more intuitive, more elegant, and more efficient than before. On top of entering the supplier invoices manually, SAP, standard SAP is actually now offering another way, downloading or loading Excel-based entries. So if I go, this is this is a template for import supplier invoices. I haven't really changed any formatting here. I just entered some data here based on my demo that I wanted to show you. So this is the file. It's easy to maintain. Yes, it's simple. It probably would not cover all sophisticated scenarios that you may come up with, but for general supplier invoice load, it's actually very good and ready out of the box. So I come here and I have loaded already that file just before, but it's clear your work list first. So I need to post this first. I can check, is it okay? Yes, it's ready for posting. So I can post it. Or if it's something wrong there, then I would probably delete it. And then if it's gone, I can browse again and I can come to my local or network drive where somebody has stored some particular load data, load files, and I can use it from here. SAP would immediately upload it without any further ado, and I can do again the same what I did before, check, post. So you can imagine if you're having, I know from experience that on almost every single project, we had to build some sort of interface for supplier invoices or for journal entries or these relatively simple tasks, but SAP somehow did not provide any standard means based on Excel. Now finally in S/4HANA, they are doing that and it's really very convenient. So let me just post it again. I will clear the work list. All right. Then payments. So I have covered the invoices or clearing or some basic transactions, basic functions, basic tasks on the AP clerk agenda. Now we're going to the payments. Again, from the business point of view, it's just maintaining some parameters, then maintaining the proposal for payments, and then running the payment and generating the payment media, sending to the bank or sending the checks to the suppliers and so on. But the navigation itself for those, again, from ECC, coming and using transaction code F110, or yeah, F110 would be the code in ECC. This is nicer. This is something that you can see what other payment runs have been executed. For now, it is just for this week, so probably you will only see my my payment run from yesterday or from today that I created here. So if I come here, again, the arrow at the right-hand side, you can see what kind of parameters I had here. I can edit parameters if I want to change something, right? So I have my supplier here, I have the company code, payment method, all logical parameters that are standard for all payment runs, I guess. But I don't want to change anything. Yes, I will want to continue. Oh, and I lost it now. Okay. No, it's here. So I go here and I schedule a proposal. So I propose, start immediately, and I'm doing that all on one screen, right? I'm seeing everything what's going on in front of my eyes. So here, I have parameters created. I don't have any payment run in that area. I have one payment run in the processed proposals, and then I have something that I have done before. But now I'm talking about the processed payment proposal. So I come here and I see what I'm going to pay. So I'm seeing these items here, but let's say that I'm missing something here. Let's say, oh, I should see some other items here. I see that I have exceptions here. And why do I have exceptions? Oh, because they are blocked for payment, right? Here under the blocked for payment line items, I see quite a few items. So instead of proceeding, let me just go back. Let me delete the proposal. And let me get back first to the manage block payments or manage invoices blocked for payments. So here I see all these block payments and I want to unblock certain things here. So let's say I say this and I say, which one? I wanted to unblock one more thing here. So these two invoices I want to unblock. Here I have the button exactly ready for this, unblock items. And then when I get back and go to payment, automatic payments, and I run the proposal again, schedule proposal, the same thing. And I come back here because the proposal has been processed. I can come here and you can see that actually my amount for payment has been changed because now I have these 7,007 something on my proposal here. So you could see how easily I could manage the payment run, the parameters, the proposal, blocked invoices. Of course, these will be all subject to particular roles and authorizations. I'm not saying that one user will do everything here. If the roles in the company are separated, of course, there will be different users processing. Unblocking would be probably just the supervisor role, not necessarily an AP clerk. But definitely the finishing the payment run, this is just a proposal, right? The finishing the payment run would be a task for another user. Definitely the separation of duty would need to be implemented properly on the authorization level. So when I come here, I should not be able to schedule the payment. I should not be able. But I'm not going to go there. I just wanted to describe the proposal and the block invoices. Then on the payment side, still, I can easily create a single payment. So if I come here, let me show you how I remember. Again, in ECC, it was a little cumbersome. I'm not saying it was there, but a little cumbersome. But I wanted to show you how different and easier it is now in S/4HANA. So I just identified the supplier. I identified the bank out of which it's going to be paid, right? Because the supplier can have multiple bank connections, bank contact or account numbers. So that's all I have to do here. Then the amount I want to say 12,500. And then what else do I need to do here? That's probably it. If I'm authorized to do so, of course, I will create it. Exception was raised. So what did I do? Oh, okay, so the vendor is contained in the proposal. I have to come back if I want to create a new single payment. I need to come back, delete this, delete the proposal, because I'm using the same Supplier, and I come back, create single payments again, and I do the same. I do the same here, and I select this one, and I do the 1200. Okay, and then I create. So these are just warnings here. No email address entered in the user master record, so no notification, automatic notification is possible. Okay, I agree. But now what it does, payment run M40 has been scheduled. So automatically this program generates a payment run. So if I come back here, okay. Okay, hold on. Sometimes working on the browser can be tricky, but it should be resolved momentarily. What I wanted to show you is that the single payment will create an automatic payment run, and you can see it in the payment automatic payments there. And that's basically how it's done now. So it's not something separate or different from your automatic payments. SAP itself generates the payment run, and it goes along the same way as other payments in the system. So I come to my AP folder, and if I go here, manage automatic payments, I just wanted to show you clearly that here I have the process payment, another M today, 31st. This is the payment that actually I processed. This is the result of the single payment. Okay, I wanted to show you also the down payment request, but because of the time, I don't want to spend more time here. What I wanted to show you is the account payable overview. So in Fiori app, in the Fiori Launchpad, the analytical apps are now so popular and so many, and all these, you can find these analytical apps everywhere. So here is the collection of different cards, analytical cards. You can see like blocked invoices or cash discount utilization, depends on the data. For some apps, there is not enough data, so you don't see anything. But here, if you are a user, manager, or a clerk, you can come here and see whatever you need to do. Also, again, based on your filtering criteria here. And then there is a whole bunch of other analytical apps. If I go to another Fiori group, analytics for accounts payable, here you can see another bunch of analytical apps only for AP. And you can see where you see a number, it means that you can play with the views, with charts, and export to Excel if you need to. It's really very powerful for overview and maintaining your suppliers. This is for AP. We have 10 to 15 minutes for AR. Do you have any questions on AP quickly?
Hey, Ludo, it looks like we don't have any questions about AP right now. So let's continue with AR.
Okay, so I'll go to the PowerPoint here, and the accounts receivable slide. Again, similarly to what I showed you before in the AP area, customer line items, what would an AR clerk do? Lockbox processing, clearing or posting incoming payments. And then what I wanted to focus more is the collection and dispute management. So here again, on this slide, you will see all apps that I will show you, or not all of them because we don't have enough time. But if you have further questions, or if you're interested in any follow-up discussions on the functionality in S/4HANA, please let us know, Rihanna or Jamie or me, and we can talk about Fiori for another hours. So let me go to SAP, to S/4HANA, and I go back to my, now to AR. So I'll skip this very quickly. Like display customer list is the same what I showed you for suppliers, right? It's a list and you can go through filters and details. Through the links, you can see what kind of additional functions you want to see for particular customers. If you go to manage customer line items, is the same idea. And if I want to show you, for example, particular for the document flow, like it's the same what you've seen in AP, just quickly to show you. So you can see that if you have complex billing arrangements coming from orders and deliveries and invoices, you can see it all here. And if you scroll down, you see the GL interpretation, right? There is no GL document for sales order, of course, but here you have all these cost of goods sold for delivery or billing documents for invoicing customers. So that's quickly just to show you the power of Fiori, the connectivity of functions across the line. Post incoming payments, it's a very, again, very intuitive, very nicely organized here on the screen. So here I would say, let me just quickly make such a posting. If I do the header data, then the GL count would be this one, amount would be 9438.75, and the customer would be 1710 1001. Here I can see proposed items, and then I can continue with this. So which item am I paying now? I can find the invoice. Here it is, clear. If there is no issue, if it's not a short payment, if you don't want to create any residual or partial payment, you just post it and it's all done here. Or you can post it to an account or to a GL account, depending how you want to see that. You can add attachments to the payment. That's another feature I wanted to mention, that attachments are usually quite hot topics in discussions with SAP. In the past, attachments were not that available. Now you can see the attachment button or tab almost everywhere where you enter invoices or payments or other documents, journal entries. Everywhere you can easily add attachments. So I posted here. If there is no trouble, and fine, I'm okay. So I can come here, display, or I don't need to display it. And then the same functionality I showed you before in AP. So when I talked about AP, I sort of covered the similar functionalities for AR, right? Because reset clear items is the same functionality here as I showed you in AP. Clear incoming payment is the same functionality, nicely organized as you saw in AP. Then the other functions, of course, the logbox and the payments and all that still is working the same way or similar way as before, with the exception that all the management of the payment files or logbox post-processing and all these functions, they are much more improved and much more elegantly organized on the screen, so you will have the better visibility when you do these functions. But now, in the end, I'd like to go to show you the collection and dispute management. That's a function that in ECC, in the classic SAP, was not really maintained well. Either you did CRM or you had to use another tool somehow connected to SAP. Now SAP brought the CRM functions in the FSCM, the financial supply, financial chain supply management, FCSM. And all these functions are now available in the core, and they can really facilitate the communication with customers really greatly. So first, you need to maintain each business partner, each customer has to have some sort of collection data. So if I come here, and if I show the collection management role for that customer, then I come here to the collection profile, and you see that this customer has been assigned to particular collection strategy, collection profile, and me as a processor for maintaining the disputes or collection tasks. What I passed, like really briefly mentioned, now the customers and suppliers in SAP are maintained under one umbrella of business partners. We can discuss that maybe in a follow-up call, but it's a new concept in SAP. It's been around for some time, but here in S4HANA, there is no other concept. So you have to use business partners, and based on the roles, you define whether that business partner is a customer, is a vendor, or both, whether that customer is subject to collection management or credit management, and so on, whether it's subject to billing and other functions. So for collections, if I'm processing receivables and I'm a processor for that particular customer, again, I have filtered this customer. So I come here to more details. Here I am in my processing screen. I can see all here based on these tabs here, all invoices or cleared items, but I can also see disputes or promises to pay. Because I'm a processor for this customer, I can have all these items on one screen. So I can edit a contact person first, like, okay, so who's the contact person? Here's the phone number. I can even call from the screen. I probably would need some sort of add-on to really make the call, but the option is here. Then I can have a note here on the customer level. On the line item level, I can see quickly, if I see this PDF button here, I can quickly just see what kind of invoice it was. So immediately when you're discussing, you call the customer, you can see immediately what kind of invoice it was, right? You don't need to go in the file somewhere or binders or somewhere else, other screens. It's right here. Then I can see immediately whether a dispute has been raised. What reason was it? What is it, state of promise? Was there actually a promise to pay created for this customer? And then if I don't have anything here and I want to create a dispute or promise, you call the customer and they promised you pay, right? So create promise to pay. You click on this and they promise to pay you either the amount of the invoice or you change it here. Promised by Janet Doyle. This is the contact at the customer, and promised for, or maybe to, I don't know, tomorrow. And here you can change it. You can actually add an attachment if you have received some sort of email communication with something that you want to attach, and you say, okay. The similar way, if there is a dispute, either you don't agree with the short payment or the customer doesn't agree with your invoice, something was wrong, you click on the item here and you create a dispute. Similarly to what we've seen on the promises, you not agree with the price. So reason, you can have price difference, and then priority is not really, it's medium. So you can do the processor, or if there's someone else, the contact person is here, you say okay, and you have immediately creating the dispute here, so you know that there has been some communication for this. And then here there is a a sub window or a segment of on the screen where you can see contact history. So you can actually go here and see what kind of contact with that customer you had. This is all manual, yes, you would need to go through this, but also what SAP does is programs that actually generate the disputes based on collection strategies automatically. So if you want to describe particular collection strategy for all customers that have open items due more than 30 days and they are over $50,000, this is probably on your priority list for disputes. So you generate such a list automatically, maybe daily or weekly, and these disputes will be waiting for you or for processing and communicating with the client. So the whole communication aspect of your clerks, AR clerks, with the customers can be really greatly enhanced by this functionality. And just to conclude this AR part, similarly what you've seen in AP, you have the accounts receivable overview, the set of cards with various aspects of the AR life, right? Days sales outstanding or cash collection tracker, aging analysis. And you can change it right here by due date or by company code or accounting clerk maybe even, if there is data for this supporting the view. Or you can go, I have some apps right here. So if I go daily sales outstanding here, which is also very cool in these apps, these analytical apps, you can change that by customer, right? So instead of buckets, days, you can see by customer. Then you can see it as a chart. You can see it as a different type of chart. You can see it as a pie chart, for example, or you can see it as a table, as a tabular view. And then even here, if you want to go and save a style, in the pop-up window, you can reconfigure the style and create it under different circumstances, different measures, different threshold values. So it's all here, very easily configurable. So if you have particular ideas how you want to see your days DSOs or your aging report for analysis, you can play with this and you can get results very easily without any long discussion with IT or with programmers. So that would conclude my my AR demo. We have 6 minutes to go. I spend a little more time on the AP side, but as I'm saying, AP and AR have many similar functions on the other side, on the symmetrical opposite sides. But I believe that I've shown you all I wanted to show you. Please let me know if you have any questions now.
Yeah, Phil, thank you again, Ludo, for going through that in-depth demonstration. I'd like to give the audience some time to type in any questions they may have for Ludo or for Jamie. While we are waiting for a few more questions to pop through, I do want to let the audience know that you will receive a copy of today's webinar along with a copy of the PowerPoint deck as a reference. Those will all be sent out tomorrow afternoon. So if there's anything you want to go back and check from today's broadcast, you can go and you'll be able to have that received directly in your emails. In addition, on the Illumini website, if you'd like to explore a bit more of SAP S/4HANA, we do have an interactive tool that lets you explore the functionality within the finance function of SAP S/4HANA, and you can play around and do a few tasks. So with that being said, let's see if we can get through a few of these questions. So first question that we have is, are these analytics built in AR, in the AR AP overview in Fiori apps, or BI is used in the background?
No, they are directly in S/4HANA. There is no BI here. I have not gone to any BI. So if you're asking, this is the same core functionality, and it's based on CDS views, which is core data services. directly. So the reporting structure, reporting approach in S4HANA has changed. It's not based on tables. It's really more based on the views. And these apps, these KPIs, the analytical apps, are based on these views right there in S4HANA. And actually, there is an app where you can build KPI analytical apps yourself. If you're a little technically skilled in that area, you can build such tiles yourself.
Awesome.
Good question. Good question. That's really very, very powerful. And we, I only skimmed through the apps here. I showed you some features here, but if you start really poking around and using data and then changing the thresholds, it's really very cool to use it for any exception-based management or any day-to-day operations, especially for supervisors and managers and up. Okay, next.
Another question for you, Ludo. So within the system, can you use GUI and Fiori, like GUI for tasks that you're doing today and maybe Fiori for any net new apps you want to do in the system?
The answer is yes, but I would encourage you not to even think about it. All GUI transactions, functional transactions that you use today in GUI can be rendered as Fiori apps in the Fiori Launchpad. So even if you have one particular transaction from GUI and you want to use it in Fiori because you haven't found any good supplement replacement of the GUI, you can bring it to the Fiori Launchpad. But in general, SAP keeps replacing all these transactions with better, nicely, and more user-friendly apps. So the answer is yes, but go with Fiori.
With that in mind, we have another one that is asking, how flexible is the Fiori Launchpad? So if we're suggesting that, hey, we would recommend you focusing on using Fiori apps versus going and using GUI, how flexible is the system to do so?
So it is flexible. If you have any experience, if you have experience in GUI, then you can use your favorites. You can structure in different folders. Here in Fiori, you can create your own groups. You can, like you've seen me actually doing that exactly right when I wanted to group all apps for this demo, in particular AP and AR groups. So it's very easy. You can maintain the whole homepage. There are tools there. You can adjust the Fiori Launchpad for your needs. Then on the other thing, or I've mentioned and I have demoed that for you, is the filters and all these things. So you can make some lists and like for invoices or suppliers, when the customers automatically generate it with one click of the button, right? Because you make the view tailored for your needs, and when you click on that, it would automatically bring all that you have pre-selected. So I think it's much more flexible than in GUI.
Okay. Unless we have any last minute questions coming through, I do want to give a big thanks to Jamie and Ludo today for your presentation. For all of our audience members, if you do have any further questions, feel free to reach out to us via our Contact Us. And we would greatly appreciate you guys providing us with any feedback from today's presentation. With that being said, I'm going to cap that off for today. I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of their day. And thank you again for joining Illumity and our team for today's presentation.
Thank you very much for your attention, and we'll hope to hear from you soon.